Hell has frozen over in Canada. It appears that Mark Carney has promised to not only greenlight a pipeline from Alberta to the west coast, but he's also signaled that he will repeal the anti-energy development laws that have been a major point of contention with Premier Danielle Smith, who is enthusiastic about the deal, and she even tweeted out this: Landmark Alberta Canada Energy Agreement. No oil and gas production cap, no net zero power regulations, new $1 million plus barrels per day pipeline to Asian markets, 400,000 barrels per year TMX expansion, and deepwater port access for oil tankers. A lot of big promises in here. While I'm cautiously optimistic, I can't ignore the many poison pills hidden within this very performative announcement. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Johnny Says So. Make sure you smash the like button on your way in, drop a comment down below on your way out, and let me know your thoughts. And if it's your first time here, make sure you're subscribed and you hit the notification bell. Putting politics aside for a second, I really want to see Canada succeed. And while I want to believe this announcement will result in a much-needed boost for Canada's economy and its ability to be self-sufficient, I have a hard time believing that Mark Carney, who has spent most of his career actively working against these prospects and actually profiting off of net zero schemes, would suddenly have this change of heart. We all remember how Carney took the main campaign promise and slogan from the Conservatives on the heel of the last election, when he quote-unquote cancelled the consumer carbon tax and the rebates that they so desperately wanted you to believe actually offset this ridiculous, useless tax. But he has actually increased the industrial carbon tax, effective immediately, despite the fact that there's actually no clear indication of when shovels will actually hit the ground.
But at its core is tightening the tier system, which is the industrial carbon price system here in Alberta, to a level of at least $130 with a pass price from there. What does that mean? It means more than a 6 times increase in the industrial price of carbon, from its effective level, which is much lower than the headline level, the effective level, to the level that's committed in the agreement.
An immediate 6 times increase in the industrial carbon tax. This is just one of the many poison pills that will ensure that this project will be doomed from the start. But hey, that doesn't matter much to Mark Carney, who stands to gain personally from this arrangement. Mark Carney won't feel the effects of this increase, but Albertans and Canadians will. Do you expect producers to just eat this cost, or will they pass it on to the consumer? Also, considering that it has yet to be announced who exactly will be building this pipeline, this doesn't strike me as the ideal conditions to attract investors. Now, there's a lot of justified speculation right now that a company that Mark Carney was formerly involved in and still very much heavily invested in, Brookfield, stands to gain from this arrangement. And this post from Wealth Moose sums the situation up nicely. Follow the money, the Brookfield-Carney pipeline nobody wants to talk about. When Mark Carney, quote, left Brookfield in January 2025, he didn't exactly walk away empty-handed. He walked out with a full executive compensation package, meaning he already knows what he'll earn in the future if Brookfield hits its revenue and performance targets. Now look what's happening. Brookfield keeps landing billions in government-friendly contracts. Canada is borrowing money to invest globally, and somehow Brookfield-linked projects magically benefit. Even the $500 million sent to the European Space Agency, the Harwell campus where the ESA is headquartered, 50% owned by Brookfield. So yes, the company that moved its headquarters from Canada to the US to dodge the global minimum tax is now thriving off decisions made by the Prime Minister, who still benefits from Brookfield's success. You don't need a conspiracy theory, you just need a calculator. And here is Conservative MP Michael Barrett grilling the CEO of Brookfield.
How was the long-term performance pay structured when Mr. Carney was at Brookfield? Are you able to tell us what metrics determined that pay?
While he was an employee of Brookfield?
Yep.
Like every executive, Mr. Carney was entitled to a compensation package that was comprised of several components. He would have been entitled to a base salary, a short-term annual bonus that's generally expressed as a percentage of that salary, and then the long-term incentive plans that align all of our executives with our shareholders and our clients in both the funds and in the overall performance of Brookfield.
When Mr. Carney left Brookfield, did he retain his unvested interests on standard terms, or were any of his arrangements modified because he was entering public life?
He left on standard terms. He terminated his employment on January 16th.
Standard
he took
terms.
everything that was vested and departed.
This is a massive conflict of interest, and MP Michael Barrett has been doing a really good job exposing this, and he continued today in the House of Commons against Mark Carney's energy minister.
Mr. Speaker, it is being reported that the government's MOU with Alberta includes a multi-billion-dollar investment in carbon capture with Pathways Alliance, the premier carbon capture company connected with Pathways Alliance is none other than Entropy, which is owned by none other than Brookfield. Is the reason it has taken the government so long to get a deal with Alberta because the Prime Minister has been busy getting a deal for Brookfield?
Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Speaker, I hate to break up their conspiracy theory, but Pathways is actually owned by 6 large oil companies, not Entropy.
Now that was a nice deflection there by Carney's energy minister, but notice that Tim Hodgson says that Pathways is owned by 6 large companies and not Entropy. But that is not at all what Michael Barrett said and alleged. He said that Entropy is connected with Pathways through investments, and that's very different than ownership. Man, all the Liberals have is dismissing reasonable questions as conspiracy theories. We've seen this time and time again. Just think back to COVID. The difference between conspiracy theory and reality these days is just a few months.
Member for St. Albert, Sturgeon River.
Mr. Speaker, the very Brookfield fund that the Prime Minister stands to make millions of dollars in future bonus pay invested $300 million in Entropy. So, in the face of that, can the government provide the assurance that the deal negotiated by the Prime Minister will in no way benefit Entropy and, by extension, the Prime Minister's financial portfolio?
The Honourable Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, here we go again, conspiracy theory. We're focused on building Canada. We're focused on working with Alberta to grow our natural resources in a responsible way in consultation with First Nations. That's how we build, not conspiracy theory.
But if you want to talk conspiracy theories, I've got a good one for you, and it's right here in the frame. Right next to Tim Hodgson here is Stephen Guilbeault, who conveniently enough resigned from Mark Carney's cabinet today. That's right, guys. Good riddance. Guilbeault quits Carney's cabinet over energy deal with Alberta. Quebec MP served as environment minister under Trudeau. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. Guilbeault is a pro-censorship eco-fascist who I'm very happy to see have less power. But at the same time, I can't help but wonder if this is a purely performative move on Mark Carney's part, calculated to give the optics that Carney is shifting away from the destructive net zero policies of the Trudeau era. Because let's not forget, guys, there's been signals that Guilbeault was going to resign before. This is from way back in March. Guilbeault expected to be shuffled out of post as Carney attempts to break from the Trudeau era. And here's another one. This one's from September. Liberal MPs poised to follow Freeland's cabinet exit. And then there's this from back in October. Liberal insiders brace for cabinet shuffle, suggest Carney could shake up front bench ahead of the USMCA review. The Liberals have had this one in their back pocket for a long time. Guilbeault has been ready to make the sacrifice and give the optics that he is stepping down. It's part of the Liberal playbook. They do this all the time. Every time they need to shift directions or there's a scandal, conveniently there's an MP that's willing to fall on the sword and take the fall to give the optics that the Liberal Party is changing. And this one is no different, guys. So notice how Guilbeault says, "I chose to enter politics to champion the fight against climate change and the protection of the environment." So he's pretending to make some moral stand here, right? But it also says Guilbeault will stay on as a Liberal MP. So if he really believed these things, and if this was a crisis of conscience, why on earth would he stay on board the party? Unless it's all bullshit. In my opinion at least, everything they've done today is just a smokescreen, and it's all designed to continue to take supporters away from the Conservatives and towards Mark Carney, who's tricking Canadians into believing that he is somehow turning over a new leaf and is going to do the things necessary for Canada's survival. Don't fall for it, guys. But anyways, that's going to be my show for today. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and as always, smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Johnny from Nova Scotia says thank you. Hey, Johnny from Nouvelle-Écosse, il dit merci, thank you.
Thanks to you.
Thank you so much. Perfect. Yeah, Quebec.